The LRD Show is sponsored by Anchor. Do you have a voice and want to be heard? Why not start a podcast? Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast. Anchor gives you everything you need in one place for free, which you can use right from your phone or computer. You will have access to creation tools allow you to record and edit your podcast, so it sounds great. They will even distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard anywhere from Spotify to Google Podcasts and many more. Download the Anchor app, or go to anchor.fm, to get started today.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The LRD Show.
Thank you for tuning in to the LRD Show. I am your host, Lois Durham. This week's guest is Trish Hallmark of THVA Online, and we'll be discussing her business and what it takes to be a virtual assistant. Trish started working in administrative positions over 20 years ago. She started THVA Online in 2009, following the term layoff due to economic turndown, and realized there was this world out there called virtual, and virtual assistant was a glaring match for her nature. That is really interesting. And at this time, I welcome Trish. Trish, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, Lois. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been a busy day today. I had to do a presentation on websites at University of Memphis today.
Oh. And that went well.
Yeah, it went very well. I mean, I'm still working on, my I can't even talk straight today. My communications, I'm always working on it. And that was, I've never done like an actual presentation type thing in front of people before, so it was a nice new learning experience. And you would think with me doing that about maybe 2 hours ago, you think I'd be nice enough to stop stumbling over my words now.
Well, it does take experience. They say I think that speaking in front of an audience is, one of the top 5 things people are fearful of. So, good for you.
It can be crazy. I mean, that's kind of one of the reasons why I created this radio show, as mainly for pretty much a communications tool to help me work on and build my communication skills. And I figured, communicating one-on-one and also with other people, it's a great way to learn that. So I don't know. Seems like it's working so far.
Well, particularly for a virtual assistant, because much of our communications are either through the phone or email. Mm-hmm. I don't know how many of your clients you've met face-to-face. So, the communication is really critical for our business.
Right, exactly. Well, I'm going to go ahead and start with our questions. What made you decide to go into a virtual assistant business?
Well, I think it was by necessity. I had lost my corporate job because of the economic downturn, and there I was, and the prospects for work was very slim, even though I continued to put my resume out. I have a good resume, but people and companies, as you know, just were not hiring in 2009 particularly. And so while I was on the Internet, looking at my LinkedIn profile and just working on my resume and applying to jobs, I came across this prospect or this concept of being a virtual assistant, read up on it, and I thought that's a good match for me. I've got 20 years experience. I've got a computer. I've got basically a home office already, and it was by necessity that I started the virtual assistant business.
Right. And I noticed one of the questions, it says, what happened that made you feel like you were behind on the times? Why do you feel like you're behind on the times?
Well, this is what happened. Since 2009, I've had several clients, but over the last couple of years, I have had 2 very consistent contracted clients, and they were filling, several hours a week for me. But it came to my mind, what if you lost one of those clients? Maybe not by any, fault of my own, but just maybe something happened to the client's business. And I became really aware of gaps in my marketing because I hadn't concentrated on it because I was working steady. And I realized I didn't have a contingency. I didn't have my name out there in the industry. And I'd gotten, I think, really a bit complacent about the marketing. And so when I got into that mindset, are you going to find another client? Are you just going to have a good plan and do your marketing? I realized I hadn't looked at my website for quite a while. I'd forgotten I'd even made a Facebook page for my business. I had a personal one. I mean, that's how outdated I was.
Wow. So what were the steps that you take to get yourself caught up?
Well, first thing I did is I looked at my website because I really seriously had not done that for months. And much of it is pretty static. There's not much to change. But in other ways, there was things that I just wanted to, beef up the text, just make sure it was current. So I did that. I looked at my LinkedIn profile, and it needed to be updated with my new client list and just reword some of the verbiage and get more connections. So I started doing that. And then I went to my Facebook page. The social media aspect of my marketing was really lacking. And so I started beefing that up. So I could feel like I was at least caught up on my presentation out there into the internet world.
Right. So you realized you were out of touch, outdated. What did you do next?
Well, I made a concerted effort. I didn't want to get behind again. I decided you were going to dedicate, Trish, an hour a day to getting and staying updated. Did that mean that if that meant being more connected with forums or being and aware of the social media aspect of my business and trying to do more postings on Facebook, whatever I felt I needed to do, just at least 1 hour a day. And within a week, my presence was at least current. And what I found out, and this was just within the last, I would say, 3 months, what I found out is I realized how much more competitive the industry had become because of so many people that were in my position that had started moving into this virtual assistant industry. And I felt a little discouraged at trying to figure out how to stand out from the other VAs or even finding a valid posting for a VA. So I knew I had to dedicate time to do that.
So how did you come over that barrier?
Well, the barrier for me was being intentional about marketing, and I had not done that. So that was the main thing. It was a mindset of just being very intentional. And then I started spending time on the job posting sites and submitting my resume. What bothered me a little bit was that's not a revenue-building activity for sure, but I knew it had to be done if I was either going to secure another client or at least plant the seed for potential clients. And that's what I did. I made the point and became very intentional in getting my name out, getting my resume out, and then reading and posting for admin assistant positions. I even submitted my resume to regular administrative positions that seemed to be in-house and suggested the notion that they would consider a virtual assistant. So I just became very intentional.
Okay. You said you were spending hours on job posting sites. What are some of the sites that you used?
Oh, well, the first thing, I have always had an RSS in Google for the virtual assistant, and periodically I'd get those emails. But previous to this intentional new focus that I had, I would just peruse them and then delete the email. What I did now is I would look at the emails, I would click on that listing, I would read the posting and see if it was a good fit. I went to LinkedIn because they have good job postings, and I find that site is very credible. I stayed away from Odesk and Elance. I just didn't feel like they had the pay scale that's consistent with my business. And in short, I just read postings and by the dozens, and I'd throw my hat into the ring when it seemed like a good match and dedicated the time. Sometimes it was on Saturdays, 3 to 4 hours on a Saturday. You know how that is. You do all your work for your clients during the weekend, so I would concentrate on basically, quote unquote, my days off.
Right. I know how very important it is to get caught up on things like your emails and also going through the emails and check up on the social media. I have a Facebook page as well as LinkedIn and Twitter, and it's sometimes because it's that I joined so many groups on LinkedIn, I have to double check and go through my emails, figure out what postings are good to look at, what are something that could help me find new clients or some projects, anything it is. I mean, it's always happened to, it almost seems like playing the catch-up game in a way on weekends, it seems like.
It is almost in that way because there's only so much time that you can put into the work week, unless one wants to work. I mean, you literally could work 24/7, I suppose. But, yeah, that's what I found I would do is I started dedicating time on my Saturdays. And like you say, just being very focused.
Right. Okay, and what did you learn in this process?
I learned a lot. I learned that no matter how comfortable one is with their client workload, it's really critical to maintain a presence somehow, to be more, I'm going to keep using that word, more intentional. It could be more tweeting, which I don't do. I'm not a big tweeter. Or I found that it could be interacting on forums, which I do actively participate in now. I learned that it's as a business owner, you can get rather complacent. And it's not because I was lazy. It's because my workload was filled. And I realized that despite that, there is still a business. I am a business owner. I'm in a competitive industry, and I need to stay on top of that industry through specific marketing tactics and having that marketing strategy. And that's what it came down to. And it's crazy. I knew that. I'm a marketing major, but real life had, or maybe more correctly, I had let real life make me a bit complacent as a business owner in terms of marketing.
Exactly. So what else did you learn from all this?
It's interesting. I learned that when I got back into looking at all of the postings and looking at all of the virtual assistant sites or the forums or the LinkedIn profiles, that there are countless sites that declare themselves to be experts in the VA industry, which I found sometimes to be questionable. It sort of begged to me what makes a VA an expert, which just kind of kills me because if you say you're an expert doesn't mean you are. And I just found that there was a lot of, and I know that's kind of a general term, but there was many sites out there that proclaimed themselves to be an expert to the point where they would offer training to wannabe virtual assistants. And it just appears that there is this mindset to market yourself as an expert, and I struggled with that. I didn't know if I feel like I have the experience, 20 years of administrative, 25 plus years of administrative acknowledge is good experience, but I struggled with, am I really wanting to step into that quote-unquote expert category? Do I really want to start training other VAs how to be a VA? And some of the sites I saw, it appeared to me that they even appeared to be perhaps even just what I call brokers, just farming out client work to whatever VAs they may have in stock. And I just thought that that was interesting, that had occurred over the 3 years from when I started and to, where things are now. And I'm not saying that that's wrong what they're doing. I just a little bit on the fence about it in terms of is that the trend of the industry? Is it going to be more brokering and VA teams? And am I standing out on my own as my own little self in my own business? Or am I remiss and not looking at building a team? So I had to really think about that, and I've thought seriously about it over the last couple of months where that fits for me. And as I did some research on it, I realized that's not where I want to go. I like the work I do for my clients, and I knew I did not want to take the step into building a VA team and subcontracting work out. Now, that's how I feel now. It may change down the road, but that's what I learned. I had a better grasp of how I will structure my business.
All right. That sounds very, very interesting. What we're going to do right now is we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, it looks like we got one person on the line, so I'm going to do a little bit of Q&A, see if they have any questions for me or for you, and we'll be right back in just a minute. We are back, and right now we're going to take a caller. This caller's area code is 804. Caller, you're on the air. Do you have any questions for me or for Trish?
Yes. Hi, my name is Hugh. I'm calling from Virginia. Very insightful show, and I'm sorry that she's not contemplating doing more with the referral marketing, because that's where everything is headed. And I just wanted to say that my last name has global recognition in the food service field, and I need somebody that has her talents just to get my strategies out to the business world, and this could be a blessing to all the clients that she has and be a newfound stream of income that could be far more than what she's doing with her clients. I'll give you an example. I'm a member of a very unique and dynamic global platform marketing organization with all kinds of tools, including video email, video conferencing, and now video newsletters. And there's a French restaurant in Texas, that came into this, organization. He did a video email to his client base, the chef preparing an entree. As a result of that, the sales for the restaurant doubled. Now, what he missed out on is taking it to the next step, since it's a referral-based organization. If he extended that to his business clientele, not only would it have brought him a new revenue stream, but his business clientele, as they got active, it would not only pay for their meal, but probably allow them to eat free at that restaurant for the rest of their lives. That's what's happening out there in the business world. Strategic alliances, creative utilization of information, social media, networking, all coming under the umbrella of strategic marketing. So I wanted to see if what she thought about that, and I'd love to work with either one of you because this organization is just going to far outpace Facebook because of just that referral application 24/7 globally. As people come in, once you're in the organization, you get money put on a debit card that you can put onto a credit card within 2 or 3 minutes of them coming in anywhere around the world.
Yeah, I could speak to that, Theo. This is in the big picture of what you just said, and in personally for me, I have to kind of precede my whole last experience over the last 3 months of getting myself back up to date, is I was very prayerful about my process because I felt like I needed to get another client, but I was struggling a little bit about how to do all that, and what I'm hearing is this may be an opportunity for me, and I need to keep my mind open on how my business could grow. Maybe there is a reason for me to, one, have this interview and hear other people's thought processes. Like you said, it may be that this is how the industry is going, and do I then need to step back and go, okay, I might need to reconsider how I've structured my business or how I'm planning to go in the future.
Yes, I think that's very insightful. If I could share my name, and you'll see various things on the Internet and your audience too.
That sounds very interesting. I've already got, you said your name was Philip?
No, it's Hugh, H-U-G-H. Last name is Traulsen, T like Tom, R-A-U-L-S-E-N as in Nancy. You'll see a lot of different things. And if you Google Traulsen, my last name and company incorporated, that was my father's company, manufactured commercial refrigerators and freezers. They're in hotels, hospitals, schools, restaurants, all around the country and around the world. He passed in 1990. The company's currently owned by Hobart, and they're very big in the commercial kitchen field. That strategy that I just mentioned, I haven't even implemented yet. So how many restaurants are there in the world? If you can do
So tell me, we're both business owners, Hugh. So we're both looking at how to be competitive, how to stay, for lack of a better word, in tune with the times. And it sounds like you're headed in that direction already. And you're posing the notion to Trish and maybe also to Lois is, are you also willing to stay ahead of the times and move in that direction? Is that kind of what we're talking about here?
Well, what I'm talking about, this organization that I'm involved with, and if you put hughtraulsen.biz, it will bring you to a site where you can come into it. But I am actually bringing in a whole new paradigm for global business. I'm working on bringing spirituality into global business and combining it with unconditional love, making everything transparent, forcing companies to be more responsible for their employees, their customers, the environment, and the community. It can be achieved, and it is starting to happen. The big multinationals are starting to fall apart from within, and social media is just tearing them up. They can't keep up with it.
Well, I'm going to have to say that we are running out of time. So what I'm going to do is I have your information. Hugh,
I don't currently use email myself, but if you see my phone number, and it is on that hughtraulsen.com on the Wall Street Journal article.
Right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give this information to Trish, and I'll let you to communicate more after the show, if that's okay with the two of you.
Thank you so much, and God bless you, ladies. And I am looking to empower women, so I think women have a more nurturing. That's what the world needs now.
Can't do it without men, though. Gotta love our men too. Thank you.
All right.
God bless you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for listening to the show. Okay. So let's go back to the questions. That was a very interesting phone call. Let's see. Well, we talked about how did you get caught up in everything. So did you ever find a new client, and how long did that take?
I did find a new client. I spent probably a total of about 10 hours submitting my business to potential clients over this last month period. And in fact, I secured this client that I just signed and contracted with a couple weeks ago because I found their posting on a job site. It was jobhost.com. But I don't know if you get this impression, but sometimes those postings don't seem valid, and I just wasn't sure if this one was valid. So I found the company. I found the company's website, and the CEO happened to have a LinkedIn profile. So I wrote her, and I inquired if indeed the posting was valid. She wrote me back, confirmed it was. The door was opened, and I was very fortunate, very blessed, and they hired my services, and I perform executive assistant services for the CEO now. So yeah, it did come through. And I think what I learned out of this, how I was talking about experts, is that really no matter how much you say you're an expert, it's really what you can back it up with. And even though I wasn't intentional about my marketing in the end, I feel like it was my integrity, my willingness to provide client referrals to this most recent client. It wasn't like grandiose things of being uber unique or anything. It was just I was able to prove that I had credible hard work in the past, and those, your past actually reflects what your future will be. And if I had any message to any virtual assistant, it would be nothing else. Be inconsistent in your integrity and your work, and those clients will come, I think.
Right, exactly. Okay. So we're kind of closing in on time. Would you like to give out your contact information? That way, if our listeners would like to inquire about your services or just want to contact you, go ahead and give us your contact information.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, my website, you could go to THVAonline.com, and there's a contact page there on the line if you don't want to, type down any email addresses right now. But my email address is quite simple, Trish@THVAonline, and that's Trish Hallmark Virtual Assistant, THVAonline.com. I have a phone. But try and reach me through the contact page on the website. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook, THVA Online. So you could probably find me pretty well if you needed to reach out to me. I'd love to hear from anyone, even if it's a virtual assistant or a potential client. Just pick my brain, and we'll see if there's a good match there.
All right, sounds really good. Well, thank you so much for being on my show, and thank you for the interest of being on my show.
Oh, I really enjoyed this. I did. I'll be looking forward to hearing more shows. Do you have them every Saturday?
Yes, I am. Actually, got booked. I am all the way booked from now to the middle of August. So I'm having a show every Saturday at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Excellent. I'll be listening in.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you for your interest.
Yes, my pleasure. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Okay, well, we are out of time. Next week on the LRD Show, we will have Mary Franklin. Tune in next week. The show starts on every Saturday, 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, on this very same channel. I am Lois Riley Durham, and you have just listened to the LRD Show. Have a good weekend. Bye.